You know, when you think back to the 90s and the early 2000s, there was just something special happening on our movie screens. It was this incredible era defined by a kind of lightning-in-a-bottle chemistry between two stars. A chemistry so powerful, we're still talking about it all these years later. In fact, one 2026 retrospective calls it the final golden age of the movie star, and for good reason. This was really the last time when the main draw wasn't some huge franchise, but just the pure magnetic pull between two people. Seriously, their names above the title were the only special effect you needed. So what was the secret sauce? What made these on-screen relationships feel so real, so unforgettable? And looking back now, we can ask an even bigger question. What do their journeys teach us about not just becoming a star, but actually staying one? Okay, so let's dive in, and we have to start with a genre that basically owned the era, the romantic comedy. This is where the blueprint for perfect on-screen chemistry was practically invented, creating these formulas that, let's be honest, Hollywood still uses today. And what's so cool here is how each duo completely carved out their own little territory. I mean, you had Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan basically inventing the digital romance back in the days of AOL. Then you've got Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, who made that goofy, super sweet everyman romance into a blockbuster machine. Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey, they were the effortless, sun-kissed charmers we all wished we could be. And of course, Jared Butler and Katherine Heigl, who just perfected that bickering battle of the sexes trope. Each pair totally owned their lane. But even within this world of rom-com royalty, there was one actor who was basically his own brand. His whole on-screen persona was so specific that his chemistry was like a chameleon. It changed completely depending on who he was paired with. And this is a perfect example of what I mean. With Julia Roberts in Notting Hill, it was all about that tension between a massive global superstar and this charmingly awkward regular guy. But then, you put him with Renee Zellweger in Bridget Jones, and he becomes the ultimate lovable cad, Daniel Cleaver. That chemistry was built on these sharp, witty insults and a totally different kind of social pressure. Same actor, but two completely iconic and totally different romantic vibes. Of course, chemistry wasn't just about witty banter in a coffee shop. Oh no. Now, let's talk about how that same spark had to sizzle through explosions, high-speed chases, and even ancient curses. This timeline shows this really fascinating evolution, right? It all kicks off with the pure adrenaline of Keanu and Sandra in Speed. I mean, they're literally falling for each other on a bus that can't slow down. Then, just a few years later, Banderas and Zeta-Jones bring back that classic, swashbuckling old Hollywood fire. The next year, you get Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz with a smart, witty adventure, while Keanu, again, this time with Kerry and Moss, defines a whole new level of stoic, cyberpunk cool. It all keeps changing, right up to the spy spoof revival with Carell and Hathaway. The action duo was always reinventing itself. But, you know, among all of those incredible action pairings, there's one moment that, even today, in 2026, people consistently point to as, well, as something else entirely. A perfect capture of that it factor. Yeah, we're talking about that iconic dance in Duel from the Mask of Zorro. It is just pure cinematic fire. There are no special effects, no explosions, just Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, a couple of swords, and an absolutely insane amount of charisma. All these years later, it is still the gold standard for on-screen magnetism. Alright, let's move on to our final category of pairings, the prestige partnerships. Now, this wasn't just about selling tickets. This is when on-screen chemistry leveled up and started translating directly into critical acclaim, winning awards and cementing actors as true Hollywood legends. So think about this for a second. Today, Joaquin Phoenix is a two-time Oscar winner, an absolute giant of his craft. But when you look back, his 2005 performance with Reese Witherspoon in Walk the Line is seen as the exact moment they both just ascended. They didn't just play Johnny Cash and June Carter, they became them, and that raw commitment launched them both into a whole new stratosphere of stardom. But then there are the films that do something more. They go beyond awards. There's one specific pairing that created a movie so unique, so impactful that it's now literally taught in film schools, and its cultural legacy just keeps growing. And that film, of course, is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What's so amazing about it is how it just completely shattered the mold for both Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. You had Carrey, the famous comedian, playing this quiet, deeply vulnerable man, and Winslet was just this force of chaotic nature. It's still the no one film people bring up when they talk about meaningful chemistry from this era. And maybe most telling, Both actors have said that project literally changed their lives. It wasn't just a movie, it was a total cultural touchstone. So, we've gone through all these iconic pairings, but that brings us to the real question, the big one. Why did these specific stars last? How did they build careers that are still thriving, still relevant, all the way in 2026? Well, when you really look at their journeys, three very clear patterns start to emerge. We're calling them the wellness pivot, the career reinvention, and the enduring friendship. And these keys aren't just about talent, they're about smarts, strategy, and just plain authenticity. So first up, the wellness pivot. This is a huge theme that connects so many of these stars. Richard Gere's longevity is often credited to his Buddhist practice. Julia Roberts famously made a conscious choice to step away from the media circus for a quieter life. And look at the Matrix stars Keanu Reeves and Carrie Moss. They both built entire lifestyles around mindfulness and conscious living. They all made an active choice. Well-being over burnout. Okay, next up is reinvention. This is crucial. The smartest stars knew they couldn't just play the same part forever. Reese Witherspoon didn't just keep acting, she became one of the most powerful producers in all of Hollywood. McConaughey famously engineered the whole McConaissance to prove he was a serious dramatic actor. Others like Meg Ryan moved behind the camera. Or you've got people like Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman, who became power players in a completely different world, tech investing. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important key to it all. This quote about Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore just says it perfectly. It's that real deal off-screen connection that we as the audience can actually feel. And this isn't a one-off thing. This kind of genuine platonic friendship is a theme you see again and again with the most beloved pairs. Just think about the deep, unwavering respect between Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. Mutual affection that never turned into some messy tablet romance is what fuels our nostalgia and makes their on-screen magic feel even more special and totally timeless. So when you boil it all down, what this all really shows us is that lasting stardom is kind of like a three-legged stool. Yeah, on-screen talent is one leg, it's essential. But the other two are those intelligent off-screen choices. Making your well-being a priority, strategically reinventing your career, and holding on to the real friendships that created all that magic in the first place. Which leaves us with one last question to chew on. In today's world of giant franchises and CGI spectacles, where that pure human connection can sometimes feel like it's taking a backseat, who are the duos today that are forging that same kind of bond? Who are we going to be talking about like this 20 years from now?